Can you hear? Wonderful, wonderful. Peyush, first of all, thank you for coming.
Some of you maybe sing the day, so sorry about that.
But that's all business. Today's all about people. Yeah? And therefore, I want to start a question with people. This yellow glasses is you motivated Karan Johar, or he motivated you, or how did this start? This yellow glasses.
They don't look good?
Huh? They look fabulous, yeah. They look fabulous.
No, so I didn't imitate from anybody. It was one of those colors that somebody in the team experimented with. And I thought they looked quite subtle and yet bold, and they kind of suit my face. Yeah, but I never thought it would suit so many people's face. But, yeah.
A lot of youngsters will say it's very cool Peyush. Yeah, that's what cool.
So I think Iger overall is becoming cooler. So
yes, and I think you have done a fabulous job. I still remember when we met 10 years back in my office when you were starting Lenskart.
Yes, I remember that.
And from there to where you have reached, fabulous. Peyush, tell me one thing. Very modest beginning as a person, family, brilliant student, traveled abroad to study, came back to one of the best institutes in this country. And then you turned into a very successful entrepreneur, and you are now a shark. Tell me the journey of Peyush. What's happened to Peyush? How have you grown yourself as an individual? Not Lenskart the business, but Peyush Bansal the individual.
Yeah, good question. I'm not really, people don't ask this, but yeah, I've changed a lot, Nagesh. I think I'm also learning with every day at work, and there are parts of me that has not changed. And I think as you were presenting, it was very touching, because I think you did speak a lot about impact, and you mentioned that some of our kids would go spend 12,000 rupees on a champagne, and that makes somebody's. I think some things that have not changed, I'll talk about, and I'll talk about things that have changed. Things that have not changed, I think that energy that you get with impact has not changed. And the desire to keep hustling and doing more of that, becomes more and more. You always want to think of that the impact will be this, and then the moment we almost get there, we decide, okay, no, there can be a bigger impact. So I think that has not changed. I think the obsession of customers has not changed. And still, every time you meet a customer who's wearing the product, has not changed. One thing that has definitely changed is that I think as I started on this journey, I begin to realize that a lot of it is in early days you do a lot, right? And you are leading by example, doing, inspiring. And after a while you do want to lead by example, it's also to motivate and take people along on that journey and get them motivated by a mission. So I think I say these days that there was 10 years of my life that I was very customer obsessed and crazy customer obsessed, right? And there is this phase of my life when I'm equally employee obsessed or team obsessed. So the same philosophy that I applied on customers, I today now apply, which is a lot of science, a lot of math, get into every little detail. I remember when we started Lenskart, our net promoter score used to be 28, and then I got to every little detail till it get to 75 or so. I probably was coming to work every day figuring out that, and now I've started the same journey here. So as a person, I've changed a lot, right? I've become a lot more patient.
Your wife also says that?
Maybe not, but there are always opposite views, right? And you have to look at the majority views. People who know the impatient part of me know that I've become patient. And yeah, and I'm probably become a better orator. I was a little bit more geeky then.
But tell me one thing, when you were a student, you just came back from Canada and you did your masters. That time, did you imagine Peyush Bansal will create a brand like this, a $5 million enterprise, okay, who will change the way the IU business happens? I mean, where did that internal kick come from? Was there a trigger which made you get? How did you identify Lens Lenskart as a business and eyewear as a business?
Yeah, so no, I did not think I would do all of this, and I don't. I also think that all glory is fleeting. So let's not go into what I have created so far. Let's talk about what is the potential for me to do. Otherwise, one can.
I told you potential is 20,000 stores, right?
Yeah. But yeah, what I think. No, I did not think. I think what I did think is I wanted to do something which is more transforming and revolutionary, and that was the motivation. The trigger point for Lenskart was the desire to do something transformative. And I always say it's 80% hard work, 20% luck. So we did get a little bit of lucky that we chose an area. And I think reading helps, right? And I still read a lot. Every time people ask me how do I get these ideas, I get it through reading. As I became the head chief people officer at Lenskart, all my HR skills have come from reading. So it starts from the first principle. So I don't look at what the world is doing. I start there. So I think even when I was reading about what India is going through and the way myopia is growing, it looked like a problem that nobody was working on. Like you are working on one right now, and now 22 million people. And I don't know whether you thought you would make this kind of impact. And you also said that this is only 1%. I think we are in the same boat that way. I also thought that nobody is working on it. Somebody has to take initiative. Over a period, it became larger than what I imagined it to be, but it is probably still less than 0.1%. The trigger was reading that 60% of India's population needs vision care, and only 25% of them have it. So it looked like a large problem to solve, and it started with a one.
I just want to stop you here. Today morning we were talking to the CEO, founder of Wow, and he was talking about a larger purpose in life. He said, I had an employee who died of cancer and we couldn't save him. So his purpose is that by the age of 50, he'll create 50 cancer hospitals. Yeah. Very few organizations have a purpose larger than their vision and mission. And everybody has a vision, number one, ban jayenge, ye ban jayenge, wo ban jayenge. But to have a purpose like this, like you're seeing, if 60% of Indians have myopia and they require vision correction, how does an entrepreneur think of a purpose which is larger than life? So that it's very easy to motivate. Otherwise, it could be saying, okay, jaake aur classes becho. But if the whole thing is this, jaake aur logon ki zindagi mein aankhein leke aao. I mean, this is too different. So how do you take that vision, that purpose of yours and translate your organization to the last person?
So two questions. You asked that how does entrepreneur form a purpose? I think largely my view is through you get inspired, right? I would have met a few people and I got inspired with the impact that they were making. What you spoke today, a lot of us got inspired, and that's the trigger point. And we then go form our own purpose, that what we want to do. We said, okay, we want to give a vision to 1 billion people. It's an audacious goal. But that's what you come and do, and you keep measuring, and the benchmark you keep is high. How do you translate that purpose now to a workforce of 25,000 people going to 1 lakh people is not easy. That's, if you can do that, then everything is done. Then things will follow automatically. I think one is you have to over-communicate. It is maybe not a very fancy answer, but if the more you can communicate. Second is you have to weave it into everything you do. Like, I'll give example of Indigo, right? They said we have to be on time. If that is the purpose of the organization, then every meeting needs to start on time, right? You need to come to office on time. So if our purpose is to allow people to do more and be more, then that has to ingrain in everything we do. You cannot, the internal and the external cannot be. So that's how the purpose gets established in every conversation. If you're talking about, it needs to be weaved. The fabric has to speak about it. If you're talking about transformation, like we say, you want to transform the way people see, then you have to do a lot of transformative things. Otherwise, that doesn't get, in this thing. So you spoke about these glasses, right? Now it is a model that we've launched. It's called Hustler. And we say that this should allow you to, and we're so going to launch that you can actually put your dream on it, personalize it, right? And you can put your dream on the glass. Now, in one way, this is, you could say this is product and marketing, but it ties back to our purpose of saying that for us, glasses is not just about wearing glasses, it's also about allowing you to do more with your life, and which is why we are letting you imprint your dream on your pair of glasses. So that, so this is a very fabric kind of thing. It's difficult to explain it in, only when you get it, you start getting it, and then you enjoy it and you get new ideas every day how you're weaving it.
Is it easier as a CEO plus CHRO to do this job now?
Obviously, yes, I do agree, because till the time you do it, you don't realize the struggle of being an HR head. So if there are any HR heads, put your CV.
There are lots and lots of HR heads, and
if you have had those moments where you always come out of a meeting and then you समझ ही नहीं आ रहा, right? And
how many of you think HR heads think that the CEO को कुछ समझ में नहीं आता?
अभी I think उनके CEO साथ में
CEO भी साथ में
you're arguing. To put them in that position, they'll understand, because I feel that the equation between 10-12 साल में मैंने 10 साल I've been on the other side. HR head is always asking and CEO is always giving. वैसा एक गोल रहता है कि ये budget है. And the CEO, the moment the HR head enters, ये लगता है वाह एक और खर्चा. But so they don't get the one thing about India particularly, and it's my view, is that we don't like intangibles. We like tangibles. हमको 1 करोड़ रुपए ले लो, गाड़ी आ जाएगी समझ में आए. 1 करोड़ रुपए ऑफिस में मैनेजर केबिन बना लो समझ में आए. But that intangible, में 1 करोड़, what we can't see, it's difficult to invest in. So when you become the CHRO, you see the intangible.
But there must be a risk also, no? Because if you are the CEO, CHRO can give you a feedback. But if you are the CEO and the CHRO, then you become the crying shoulder. HR head is the crying shoulder.
The way you have to do it is, you live that line, let them live the other line, then you swap after 2 years. It's okay. So at least you taste, right? It's like lead by example. Now, a lot of companies, at least at Lenskart, we are saying this year every employee has to work in the store for 4 weeks. Live the life, no laptop, nothing. So you live. वैसा नहीं है आप, everybody.
That reminds me, I mentioned 2 years
So
back.
I think you have to experience firsthand, then you appreciate.
I remember I met you 2 years back and you said every day you visit a store. You still do that?
No, not right now, but I want to. I end up visiting similar number in a year, but not sometimes.
Okay, not every day, but still 300-400 stores in a year.
Yes.
So I was in conversation.
It has become a little bit difficult after Shark Tank because everybody knows me. Again, people get used to me.
Yeah, in fact, I was told that you're likely to come out of the airport with some black security guards and all that.
No.
You get mobbed and all that. How is it being Shark Tank? How is it being a shark?
I have probably taken more selfies in the last 2 years than I've taken in the last 20, 35, 38.
But लगता कैसे? Peyush को कैसा लगता है? अच्छा लगता है?
मेरे को यार नागेश में बहुत काम करता हूँ, तो मेरे को अच्छा और बुरा लगने का टाइम नहीं है. So I live in Delhi, go to Gurgaon. By the time I reach and by the time I leave, अच्छा और बुरे का टाइम नहीं है. When the day Shark Tank is going, the shoot starts at 9 in the morning and goes till 11. तो वहाँ पे अच्छा बुरे का टाइम नहीं है. The one thing that I would tell you is that I have definitely feel that as I am building Lenskart, I have a much wider perspective, and I kind of sometimes feel, yaar, abhi if somebody is building a business, do you even know what is happening in that part of India? Do you even know that how the world is changing? I think my ability to notice change is much bigger now, much higher now than it was sitting in the office, because it is almost like you're sitting in this closed room and you don't know what is happening in this remote part of India and what is changing and how cultures are changing. Like the fact that I'm wearing these glasses which are orange color, I would attribute some of it to Shark Tank because I can see that if I don't do it, the world is anyways doing it. You talk about Gen Z today, you talk about what kind of products are, you learn to appreciate that there is not one community. What happens when we are building brands is we take one segment of people which is very similar to us. We start advertising and start targeting those people. But we forget that with social media, if there were groups of people who had very individualistic preferences, they have now found similar groups of people on internet, and they are proud about that, their likes, dislikes, and so that appreciation is an example of what Shark Tank has done.
Oh, so a lot of people, I don't think how many of us here will ever be able to go to the Shark Tank and be a shark. If they have to get an insight of what's happening in India, what should they do?
So one thing that is happening is that, and maybe I'll make it relevant from a retail perspective, is that definitely consumption is increasing a lot. And I think the relevance of the traditional brand that is not as high as it used to be. Like, legacy brand. People are more flirtatious. They're willing to experiment. So you could be somebody who will launch a product on Instagram. There are few people who will try, and if your product and service is good, in no time they will talk about it to a few more people, and you could become like 100 crore brand, which was not possible happening earlier. So if your product and service is good, and maybe you didn't have the big legacy name backing you, you can still make it really popular as long as there is value. So this is very, very new. You would remember in D2C earlier, there used to be this big deal about that D2C only works below a certain ticket size. But today D2C is working at high ticket size, 5,000, 7,000. People are trying products which are 10, 11, 12,000 rupees of brands they have never heard names of. And I think that is changing.
Yeah, somebody from Carrot Lane told me they did a 1 crore solitaire D2C on an online business, and somebody bought this. Of course, when it went for delivery, the whole thing went to deliver, but the person took all the calls.
And even today when we are shopping in the store, even in offline, earlier there was this thing, ये brand का नाम सुना है क्या? अभी I don't think people ask this question. Like नहीं सुना है, product अच्छा है, I'm liking it, I'll try it, and then I'm okay to fail and be experimental.
You are sitting on the top of the pyramid. I was asking this question to Mr. TRRAIN Murthy of Infosys. There was a chat like this, and I asked me saying, how does TRRAIN Murthy improve himself? So my question is, from nothing, you are running a very large enterprise. So how does Peyush Bansal improve himself? Because there's nobody above you.
I don't think so. there is nobody above me.
No, I'm saying, is there somebody above you who keeps training you? No. I mean, you are the...
Well, firstly, the way I improve myself is that we've kept the benchmarks very high. If you keep the benchmark high, I kind of stay discontent, usually more than content. So there's always, I have more failures than wins. So if I have 365 days, I probably fail 360 and win only 5. So
that's being very modest here.
No,
only 5 days of success gives you a $5 million enterprise. I'm
not saying that's a good thing, but my team would tell you that you should be a little bit more content. But that's how I'm wired. And I have coaches, right? I have Ronnie, who I speak to once a week. And there's Viju, who has taught me how to do retail. So there are all these people, and now I have expanded my network. I now spend a lot of time with Aditya Ghosh, Mobile Indigo, because I love what he did at scale. So because I have the privilege of reaching out to some of these people, and it's not easy. I chased Aditya Ghosh for 4 years to get a meeting, and then I waited for another 2 years for him to really say, okay, I'll give you my wisdom. And then we got along, and then he started spending time. And then I got an office opposite his house. So now it's become more easier.
Wow.
So yeah, I keep learning. There are so many people to learn from. So I'm learning retail, I'm learning tech, I'm learning people. A lot of people are mentoring me how to be a great leader right now. I have some coaches even outside India from which I'm learning how to build a global organization, how to think about leadership.
Congratulations, you got your own days. And when are you buying Exotica? When are you buying Exotica?
I am not in a buying spree or anything. And we partnered with Owndays because as we started that vision of serving 1 billion people, and we looked at the myopia rates in India, so we kind of said that we'll be able to serve 500 million people in India, but then we wanted the other 500 million. So we partnered with Owndays, and we really liked their culture. If I can tell you one thing about Owndays is that we spoke about retail. I have till date personally never other than Starbucks, I have not seen a retail company with a more innovative people strategy and culture. Such a powerful. I have not seen the amount of pride a Ponte's employee has is probably the highest I've seen in the world.
Wow.
Right?
Wow.
And it's not in India in a big way, so it's difficult to explain. But if any of you ever get a chance to visit to Singapore, Japan, or Thailand, you should see, and you'll know what I'm talking about.
And Owndays is the largest eyewear company in Japan?
No, they're largest in Asia, Southeast Asia. They are the third largest in Japan.
Wow. It's a great thing for an Indian company, startup 10-year-old, to go and buy the third largest company in Japan. This is the beginning. Wow. What a wonderful thing. I just have one more question which is more related to this. You know that 95% of people who work in retail are on the front end. Yeah. And we say 40 million, 45 million. Our study shows that their life in the last 25 years have not changed. In fact, they have not been able to beat inflation also. If you look at the compensation.
What is the average compensation?
Average compensation will be about 12,000. 11,700 something 2 years back. And when we look at the growth of their compensation, which was from 6.7% over 21 years, 22 years, against inflation of 7%. And that time they were 20 years and now they are 45 years. So it is not beaten. I mean, you quiz a lot of people. If I have to quiz you to say, is there anything that you can think that organizations can do to improve the lives of people who work in the front end? And you go to stores, you meet people, I know your heart ticks for the people.
See, one thing. So, average salary of we employ about 12,000 people. And average salary is about 26,000. And
that's a good salary. That's a good compensation for that.
28 now, maybe 28. And I think, and maybe the answer is a little bit twisted, I think we can apply, we can learn. See, I think there is a lot of debate between offline and online. We need to end this debate. Both are here to stay.
Absolutely. Yeah.
Right? And consumers shop across. But there is this element, I don't know where it emerges from, that people are willing to invest a lot in online, people are not willing to invest a lot in offline. And my view is if we can increase our investments in technology and data, and I'll come to your answer why. Then see what happens is that if your store is running on such a thin EBITDA, it is squeezing somewhere, right? So you squeeze everywhere, you squeeze on rent. And rent in India is, is not easy, and that is another problem. Somebody will solve that. Why rentals are so high, especially. But because Nexus is sponsoring this, I don't want to.
No, that's fine. That's fine. We can always together go to Nexus and
so where else do you make it sustainable? Because eventually the goal is also to make it sustainable. I don't think organizations have a choice. So you make it sustainable by keeping people cost in control. So if you want to pay more, and which will lead to more economic development and improve the quality of lives of people, the retail needs to generate more EBITDA. For retail to generate more EBITDA, we need to apply technology which will allow more sales per square feet to happen, and a business which looks not such a high growth business will now become a high growth business. So if you have to open large number of, so that is one angle, so increase per capita. The second is scale retail. Now scaling retail is again a problem of, if you can apply some technology, you can apply some data science, then instead of opening, why can't we open 1,000 stores a year? Why? I think it's more of a mental barrier because in the past maybe when we did not have so much information and data available, all the decisions of opening stores were largely based on gut. And today with so much information available, data available, you can use that information to apply more logic, which means that if you are opening 1,000 stores a year, you can still open them well.
Yeah.
With great economics, great profitability, more growth than even an online business. So yeah, I think that's what we can do as retailers. We treat offline like we treat online. Because in online you ask traffic, data, A/B testing, conversion, start asking the same questions and start expecting that offline retail can also grow on SSG of 25-30% a year. we have to believe. When is that belief? Economics takes.
Wonderful. Thank you very much. I can keep going on. I know you need to go back. I mean, is there anybody in the audience who has one or two questions for Peyush Bansal? Not Lenskart a business, but as an individual, you have any questions for him? Yeah, please. Somebody there at the back.
How does your day go about, like, from morning to night?
How does your day look like, morning to evening?
My calendar, I'm a very calendared item, everything works on the calendar. So usually I wake up, I'm an early riser, 5:30 I wake up. Earlier I used to go running, now I've become a little lazy. Once you lose, I changed houses a little while back, so I lost the group. But then I used to run for 1 hour and would always do a little bit of emails, etc. I go to office after hybrid, maybe 3 to 4 days a week, 3 days a week. And yeah, I reach office because the commute is long by 9:30, 10. And then during office I have it's a fixed, like there'll be one-on-ones, there's a lot of group meetings, meeting, and then I go back home. In the morning I spend about an hour with my son now, who's just very young, and by the time I reach home he's usually asleep, and I don't work on Sundays anymore.
In fact, my daughter once called out and my secretary kept saying he's in a meeting, he's in a meeting. So at the end of the day she asked me कि हर तो meeting में रहते हो तो काम कब करते हो? For her, meeting was not working. Because she's not working means you'll be doing something else. Yeah. Anybody else has a question? You take one. Yeah, come. The question is, how do you switch off? Do you need to switch off?
Yes, you need to.
I think you need to switch off.
Like I said, I don't work on Sundays, and then I take frequent vacations. Even if it is, my perfect vacation is a 3-day vacation. It's also in the
But your employees get more than 3 days vacation?
Yeah, employees they have an unlimited leave policy. They can take as many.
The CEO and a CHRO is a deadly combination. The CEO takes 3 days. How the hell can you take more than 3 days? CHRO ना बोल रहा है, एक ही बंदा है.
See, in a high growth environment when you're working that hard, for me that works. I may take maybe 6 vacations a year for 3 days, and some of them are also alone. So
that was a good suggestion for a lot of men sitting here. I'm hoping it's the same thing.
No, this is not alone with your friends. This is alone.
Yeah, backpacking, just single man going around the place.
Yeah, just alone. Be with yourself.
Wonderful.
Those are the best. I can tell you. If you want to reflect back, go alone. Don't take phone, and take a few books, read.
But even with the Shark Tank days also, you can walk alone.
Yeah, you can go to a resort,
Okay.
there are resorts now where you are not allowed to go with phone, or you go to a Gandaman and phone doesn't work.
Wonderful. Wonderful. So
You have a question?
Oh, there are questions. There are too many questions coming. I don't think we have the time. We'll just take one quick.
Peyush.
Sorry?
Are you a high EQ person?
I don't know. Sima, what do you think? Yeah, getting there.
Oh, see.
Peyush,
That's a good CEO. No, I can't answer myself. I will ask somebody else. She can't even say in a forum like this कि EQ कुछ नहीं है. ऐसा होता है. Yes, please. Your take on traditional retail, advent of online, the future of traditional retail.
I think retail is not tradition. We have made it traditional. Right? There is no such thing as traditional retail. Tell me, countries which are 10 years ahead of India, 20 years ahead of India, is the retail stock that's only growing. So it is in our mindset, which is why I spoke about that we've made it traditional. So if we can drop the belief of that this is traditional, then there is more and more that can be done with it. And the day we stop thinking of it as traditional, the whole per capita employee and employment will increase. That's the only thing.
Yeah, and even if you just do a quick number, if 1 trillion is the spend, okay, on food, I'm taking up, it's around 650 million or so. If GDP is growing by 7% and modern retail is 10%, growing by 35%, the modern retail is still not able to occupy the total growth in the pie of consumption. So traditional retailer is growing, it's just that there's a lot of crime happening there.
Experiences have become so important now, right? If you just were selling, the experience, the richness of experience that you can offer in physical retail is, that sitting in an ambient lighting, reading a book is very different than when you're cycling. So both has its advantage, and the consumers love both. Nobody wants a boring life, sitting in a room and everything comes in that room. We've done that for 2 years in COVID, right? So people want that. So we have to find differentiations and see and unlock the code of what people
The
like.
statement of the day from CEO of Lenskart is that nobody wants a boring life shopping online. Go to offline or go to Lenskart.
Yeah.
Yeah, wonderful. Thank you so much. Thank you so much.